to The Blotcha Show. My name is Chris. I'm your host, and you are listening to this week's episode of Storytime Friday.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Storytime Friday. This is another freestyle Storytime Friday episode. Again, still don't have anything written, but I am going to basically do what I did last week and practice my storytelling skills without having anything written, just coming up with something off the top of my head. Hope you guys enjoy it. This is episode 79. This week's story is titled, What's Out There? Veronica Jones had lived in the same small town in northern Pennsylvania for most of her life. She just passed her 32nd birthday and had become a professor at the local university. She wasn't sure for the longest time what she wanted to do with her life. And when she was going to school, she had actually majored in a couple of different things, hoping that as time went on, that she would figure out her true calling. She was hoping that as she did more classes and kind of got more experience, that there'd be one part of her education that would really speak to her and help her to decide which direction she wanted to go. It wasn't until her sophomore year, the end of her sophomore year in college, when she decided that she actually really was very much interested in stories having to do with lore. Stories about things that go bump in the night, stories about things that a lot of people would say there's no such thing. A lot of things that people would say that they don't exist. She couldn't help it. For some reason, she started to feel a fascination towards that type of work, a fascination towards those type of studies, wanting to learn more, wanting to research and to find out as much information about these stories that she didn't even know, honestly, if any of them are real. She did find, whenever she would sit back late in the night and be researching and writing, and taking notes in her notebook, writing some updates in her computer, trying to document everything she found, she felt like she was basically a non-believer trying to prove herself wrong. Because the whole time that she was taking these classes and trying to kind of get more information about the very things that she was researching, the entire time she would always have this thought going through her head, like, I don't even know why I'm doing this, because there's no way any of this is real. But then she would find another website with some more information, or she'd be looking through some books from the library about different legends, and she'd find herself even more fascinated, even more intrigued, and she would just keep going. As she got to the end of her college education, she decided that she actually wanted to get into education herself and become a teacher. And after working for a few years in the regular school system, she was able to actually land a job in the university as a college professor. They had never had a lore professor before, so she was the very first one that they had ever had. But when she was applying, they talked to her about, like, why do you think that there should be a class on legends and lore here at this university? Well, Veronica said, I don't know, just been very fascinated with it, you know, and I've been like, I especially like I majored in a bunch of things about. It was one of the majors that I actually just really found fascinating, and I'm intrigued by it. Well, that's interesting. The dean said, like, well, like, was that the only thing you majored in when you were going through school? No, sir, Veronica said. I actually majored in a couple different things, and it wasn't until um, most of the way through my sophomore year that I finally kind of landed a little bit more firmly on my feet in this subject. Well, that's very interesting, the dean said. Like, what other things did you major in? I'm out of curiosity. Well, I mean, does that really matter? Veronica said, like, this is actually, this is what I do now. Well, yeah, it matters a little bit, the dean said. I'm just kind of curious what you were first, kind of dipping your toe in the water with as far as other subjects go. So I'm just out of curiosity, if you don't mind, Miss Jones. Okay, Miss Jones, Veronica said. Oh, I was, at first I had for the first year, I had majors in applied sciences and mathematics. But then towards the end of my first year, I added another major, added legends and lore, to kind of, I don't even know how to explain it. It just, I felt drawn to it. Okay, the dean said. So, like, and what? So you had those three majors up until about 2/3 of the way through your sophomore year. That's when you decided to drop my other two majors and stick with the legends and lore. Veronica said, cutting him off. The dean said, "Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that's what I was. Sorry, I'm a little tired. So it's like it's been a long day, and so I'm kind of, I knew what I wanted to say, but I'm sure you can understand being a student, right, Miss Jones?" Well, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can definitely understand because having three majors was kind of rough. And as soon as when I dropped those other two and I kind of stuck with legends and lore, it definitely was a little bit easier to focus. But three majors definitely was not easy. I gotcha. So, Miss Jones, like, what would make you, or like, why do you think that this? Because we don't currently have we don't have a class on Legends and Lore. Why do you think that we should? Like, what? Like, because I've never even heard of a college having a class like that. Well, sir, Veronica said. Honestly, like, it's one of those things where it's like I don't even know how to describe it, sir. I mean, it's like one of those things that I just think people there's a very big there's very fascination about the unknown, about things that people don't know, don't believe in, or they question, like, do they really exist? What, like, sir, do you believe in like, for instance, sir, let me ask you a question. Okay, the dean said. Like, what question would you like to ask me, Miss Jones? Well, sir, do you believe in werewolves? Werewolves, the dean said, kind of with an eyebrow raised, looking at her funny. Why? Like, why would I? Just humor me, please, sir. If you like, just answer the question. I'm just curious. Okay, the dean said. Well, not like, obviously, it's like ghosts. I don't think ghosts are real. I really don't think I don't think werewolves are real. They, I have to believe they're all just stories that have been made up, and so no. My answer would be no. I don't believe in werewolves. Huh. Okay. So Veronica paused for a second. So I guess it's the same. You'd probably say the same thing about things like vampires. Well, yeah, the dean said. Kind of looked off for a second and kind of had his hand resting on his temples for a second as he looked off, obviously very deep in thoughts. Well, Miss Jones, I don't know. Just you bringing these up, it kind of makes me a little bit intrigued. So I can kind of see why I'm starting to understand a little bit why you think that this would be, an interesting topic or interesting subject to teach here at this university. Now, I gotta warn you though, like, I don't know, because it's been a while since we've added another type of class here. So I'm gonna have to obviously, because I could make an executive decision and add it and bring you on immediately, but I think I want to talk to the board and find out what they think. And if you could give me like 2 days, because I'm definitely curious. Like I'll have to hand it to you. You definitely have me curious and intrigued about how well, like what this class, how well it would do. So can you give me like 48 hours and I'll. Well, yeah. Well, is there? I mean, I'm like, really, sir? Like, I'm surprised because, you really haven't asked me that many questions. Is there anything else about me you want to know? The dean shrugged. Well, you seem like a really nice person, and from what I'm looking on your resume, it looks like you spent the last 5 years as a middle school teacher, and your references from when you went to school are actually they're all really good. Like nobody has anything bad to say about you as far as your former teachers, your former coworkers at your old school, and I the idea that what you presented over here just is very intriguing, and I find it very interesting. So I think I want to give I'd like to extend a conditional offer of employment to you, Miss Jones. And that condition is basically I have to check with, run it by the board and make sure that everybody is on board with it, that everything's good, and that, obviously we'll have to run a background check, which is really quick. It only takes literally within 48 hours. I'm going to start it right now, and by the time I can, within the next 2 or 3 days, I'll be able to get you back on the phone or get you, unless you want to come in here, or would it be better for me to call you? Veronica shrugged. Well, I'm just blown away. Like I didn't expect to come in here and get the job right away. I knew that we didn't have I knew that your university didn't have a Legends and Lore class, and so I thought it was kind of a long shot coming in here. But I'm blown away. I really thank you, sir. The dean laughed. Well, yeah, I'm just like I said, I'm just very impressed by you, and you just seem like, based on what we talked about prior to when you came in here, because I know we spoke a little bit on the phone before, when we were scheduling this interview, the little bit that we talked about, it just amazed me. Like you definitely have. I can tell that this is a subject that you've researched and probably written a bunch. You've probably written a bunch about. I'm pretty sure. Is that right? Yes, sir. Roddick said, I have a ton of notes, both in like actual notebooks and on my computer, and written a couple papers, and it's okay. Well, let me ask you this. The dean said, like, have you ever written? Is it all about everything legend and lore in general, or have you specialized more, or kept it specifically to a certain type of legend or lore? Veronica paused for a second. Well, sir, actually, it's kind of been a little bit of everything, but my main focus has been kind of vampires and werewolves. More so werewolves, but yeah, vampires and werewolves have been kind of where I've, the dean said. Why has it been more vampires and werewolves, and more specifically, why do you lean more towards werewolves, out of curiosity? Veronica, laughed a little bit. Like, well, that's kind of interesting. It just seems like in this area where we're at up here in northern PA, I've heard so many stories in this area, in this northeast corner of Pennsylvania, where even in the wooded areas out here where people have either gone missing, and when they did find them, they were, just the stories about them. Have you heard? Are you familiar with those stories, Mr. Dean? Well, no, Miss Jones, I'm not. Like I mean, I've heard a little bit. I've heard some of the stories, but I haven't really looked into it or researched it too much. So I'm not as much in the loop as apparently you are. Like, like? Well, sir, like there's just some stories that I came across when I was researching different things, and a lot of them have to do with people disappearing up here, and that they're not always found, and sometimes when there's a lot of times when they are found, they're either torn apart or they're just like very torn up in general. And otherwise, there's other times where they've been found and they basically had like puncture wounds on their necks or whatever. Just very odd circumstances, but they could never, there's never nothing was ever found or figured out. So that it's just stuff that I've kind of compiled all in my different, different sets of notes and stuff that I've written. Wow, that's really interesting, Miss Jones, the dean said. Wow, I'm intrigued. I could totally say that, like, I won't, you know what? Yeah, I definitely feel like this is a very good, like, making the right decision. Miss Jones, I would like to conditionally offer you an employment or a employment position with us as a professor, and for a brand new class that we've never had. This will be Legends and Lore. But again, give me 48 hours so I can cross all T's and dot all my I's, and obviously go over this with the board so that we can get everybody on board and get a 100% green light, all thumbs up. Could you give me the 48 hours to take care of that? Absolutely, sir, Veronica said. As she teared up. I'm just blown away. Like, I cannot believe I did not come in here expecting a job offer, but thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. She said as she looked away and sniffled, trying to hold back the tears. It's totally fine. The dean said, don't even worry about it. I totally understand. This could definitely, I can understand how this could be a very emotional occasion, because I know you didn't, like you said, you didn't expect to come in here and land the job. So Miss Veronica, Miss Jones, I go ahead and here I have take this with you. If you please sign this, as he slipped a sheet of paper across the desk. What's this? Veronica said. This is a written conditional offer. This is basically just says on here that we're going to be adding a class. You're going to be our professor for that class. The position actually comes with full benefits, retirement, all that fun stuff. Wow, Veronica said, that's cool. And here I was just hoping to be professor. Oh yeah, but it's a very good job to have. The dean said as he took the paper back after Veronica signed it. Okay, well, we'll be in touch, Miss Jones. Just keep your phone on and keep it with you, and we'll be giving you a call in the next 48 hours. That sounds great, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Veronica said. She stood up, shook his hand, and headed for the door. Oh, Miss Jones. Yes, sir, she said, turning back around. So, do you think that, like, or you would say it's your belief that there are vampires and werewolves up here? Well, Veronica said, she kind of looked down for a second and was thinking. I don't know, sir. That's kind of part of why I like the idea of being a Legends and Lore professor. Is I know there's those stories up in this part of the state, but I know there's some other weird stories that I've heard of that things happening or whatever. And I think it would be interesting to do a class on it, where not only am I teaching about it, but we could also the class can research. We could all research together, and the students could find different information about events that maybe have happened, and well, that sounds very interesting, the dean said. So I can't wait to see what you do with the class. I will talk to you in 2 days. All right, sir. Thank you, she said as she headed out the door. Veronica left the university and headed back home. The entire drive home, she's thinking to herself, "Wow, I cannot believe I just basically got offered a conditional job offer. Like on the first interview, I was so certain that I was going to be like a couple interviews at least before I even, especially because they don't even have a job, like a class for this. Wow. Oh man," she said. "Burp." Oh shit. She said she realized she had zoned out a little bit and had been sitting at the green light for a couple minutes. Car honking behind her. She waved. "Sorry." Pulled into her parking lot at her house. She grabbed her stuff and headed inside. Got on the computer to start doing some more research, and she decided to kind of, just kill some time. She didn't have anything else going on. She wasn't going to have to obviously start work for another 2 days, or at least get the job offer, get the job officially in 2 days, and then after that to figure out when she was going to start. And so she figured she would do what she does best, get on the computer and research. A couple days later, ring, ring, ring. Ring, ring, ring. "Hello," Veronica said as she answered the call. "Hey, Miss Jones, or may I speak to, or is this Miss Jones?" "Yes, who is this?" Veronica said. "This is the dean at the university. I just want to congratulate you. Want to make it official. The board, I presented your conditional job offer to the board, and everybody signed off on it. Everybody gave their thumbs up, so I'd like to make it official. When would you like to start?" "As soon as possible," Veronica said. That sounds great. How about next Monday? We've already got a classroom set up for your new class, and it used to be a different class, but that class, that teacher, let's just say there's some odd circumstances, and so that teacher is no longer around, and so they canceled that class because it was another new class. It was going for only like a semester before they decided to close it down because they didn't have anybody else that actually was wanting to teach that class. So, "Oh, that's interesting," Veronica said. "All right, yeah, Monday sounds great. What time do you want me there?" "Well, your class will start around 10 a.m. We're gonna figure it's gonna be a 2-hour class, but would that 2 hours be enough to basically be able to teach the curriculum that you're covering?" "Oh yeah, 2 hours should be great. 10 to noon, that's great. I could totally, I could work with that." "All right, great," the dean said. "All right, well, we'll see you on Monday. So that gives you a couple more days if you need time to, put some stuff together or whatever. We already have students, surprisingly, because the last 2 days I kind of was putting it out there and getting a list of students that actually said that they would be interested in attending a class like this." "Really?" Veronica said. "Yeah," the dean said. I wasn't sure like how many, or like how big of an idea this subject would be, but I put it out there, did a little survey over the course of like 24 hours, and had a lot of students come back. So you actually have a class that has about 30 or 40 students that have actually already signed up to attend your class. "Wow," Veronica said. I'm blown away. I cannot believe that. But thank you so much, sir. I will see you guys on Monday." "Absolutely, Miss Jones, or should I say, Professor Jones." Veronica laughed. "Oh wow, I just got goosebumps when you called me that, sir. Is it okay if I call you Dean? Since you're the dean, or you want me to call you? What's your last? My last name's Smith, so you can just call me Dean Smith." "Okay, Dean Smith, sir. I really appreciate it. I will see you on Monday." "All right, Miss Jones. Have a good one." "All right, you too." Click. As they hung up the call. So Veronica just sat there in her chair staring at a computer screen for probably what felt like at least half an hour, completely zoned out and just lost in her own thoughts. "Wow, I cannot believe what just happened," she thought to herself. Um, yeah, it's just, man, I'm so blown away, she thought. Monday morning came very fast. She walks into her classroom, takes a look around, and went over to the chalkboard and wrote her name on the board, along with "Welcome to Legends and Lore. I'm your instructor, Veronica Jones." Then she sat down, popped up on her computer, grabbed her notebook, wrote down a few notes, did a little bit of research on her computer during the little bit that she's waiting for her students to start showing up, and basically just had to make sure to take a couple deep breaths because she was very nervous. I can't believe I'm actually here. Last teaching job I had, I was in a middle school. Now I'm a college professor. Wow, this is just amazing. Yeah, is this the Legends and Lore class? She heard as a young student that peeked their head in the door. Yes, sir. Come on in. Please join me. Oh, cool. Shortly afterwards, other students started showing up and taking their seats. And then 10 o'clock came. Veronica stood up, tapped on the desk to get everybody's attention. Hey, everybody. I want to welcome you guys to this brand new class, Legends and Lore. My name is Veronica Jones. I am your professor for this class. Now let me go around the class here real quick and just ask, what do we got here? 20, 30, 30 students, 32 students looks like, she said as she looked around the room and kind of counted really quickly in her head. So who would let me ask you a question, she said, walking around the classroom. Why did you guys decide you wanted to take this class? You, she said, pointing off at the back where one of the students' hand was raised. Well, ma'am, I don't know. I've always been fascinated by stories of things that just can't explain. Really? Veronica said. Give me an example. What kind of stories? Well, ma'am, and Veronica cut him off. Young man, just, you don't need to call me ma'am. You guys could, everybody, you guys could call me Veronica or Professor or whatever, but you don't need to call me ma'am. We can be laid back in here. This is not, I want you guys to it doesn't have to be official in here. Yes, I'm in a position of authority, but I want you guys to feel comfortable in here. So either Professor or Veronica, or Professor Veronica, if that's what you want. So, young man, you were saying, yes, Professor Veronica. I grew up out here, and ever since I was a kid, it's just been, I've even had friends that disappeared out here. Really? Veronica said. How long ago? Recently? No, ma'am. Professor, it was back when I was a kid. I was 15. I was in high school, and one of my friends I'd grown up with, and we lived next door to each other. And one day my friend just went off in the woods, and we never saw him again. He just disappeared. Oh my God, Veronica said. I'm so sorry. What's your name, sir? What's your name, young man? My name is Scott, Veronica. My name is Scott, Professor. Okay. Well, Scott, I am so sorry to hear about your friend. They never found him? Nothing ever came of it? No, Professor. They searched for probably 2 months, and the case never got closed, and they just don't know what happened to him. He just disappeared. Oh, okay. Well, okay, young man. Well, thank you for sharing. Anybody else have any want to tell me why you wanted to take this class? You, she said, pointing off in to the other side of the classroom where a young lady had her hand raised. Yeah, you. What's your name, young man or young lady? Well, ma'am. Professor. My name is Jessica, and yeah, just like my fellow student over there. I grew up here too, but I was probably about a town or like one town over. We're all small towns out here, you see, Professor. But like I also had a friend that had disappeared, but we actually found her. Veronica was like, really? Like, so your friend disappeared, but they found her. Like, was she still like, was she okay? No, Professor. When they found her, it had been like just like what he said. It searched for like 2 months, and when they found her, she was in pretty bad shape. Like, she was like, man. The student looked away. Veronica was like, came over and put a hand on his shoulder. It's okay. If it's too painful, you don't have to tell us. You know. No, it's fine. Jessica said. I'm just. It's been like 5 years since it happened, and I'm still like, she and I were best friends. You know. She said, tearing up a little bit. Veronica squeezed her shoulder. I understand. Well, like, so what happened? They said, like, what condition was she in when they found her? Jessica sighed. Well, Professor, like, she was in pieces. Like, they almost couldn't identify her because she was in such bad shape. Oh wow, Veronica said. Like, what'd they do? Like, did they ever figure out what happened? Like, was it just wild animals, or did they catch anybody? Jessica looked away for a second, and she looked back with a tear running down her face. No, Professor, that's just, they never found anything. The only thing that they said that there was nothing in the woods that was big enough to tear her apart the way that she was. And they never found anybody that they were able to, as far as suspects go. And the only thing they really found anywhere in the area where my friend had been located, and that's the thing, they didn't find all of her either. They found most of her, and what they found was torn apart, but there were other parts of her that were gone. Oh wow, Veronica said. Like, so what part did they not, like, was there, like, how many pieces what did they not find? I'm just like, there's so many questions in my head. I'm just curious, but I know it's a tough subject, so I apologize if I'm asking too many questions. No, it's fine, Jessica said. They actually didn't find her heart. Like, her heart was missing. But other than that, like, the rest of her body, it was found in it all kind of in a small area. Like, you know, her head over here, her lower half was over here, an arm was over there. Jessica looked away as she was clearly getting choked up. And you said that they found, like, did they find anything at the scene of where they found it, where they found your friend? Well, Professor, the only thing that they found that they logged into, quote, evidence, she said to the professor, as she did air quotes with her fingers, was a very big footprint nearby, or whatever. A footprint, Veronica said. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Professor. It was a footprint, but it wasn't a regular footprint. It looked like a really large animal footprint, but they said there's nothing. They didn't understand why there was a footprint like that in that part of the woods, because there were no. It looked like it could have been a bear, but it was not even. It didn't even look. When they had experts come in, they said that it kind of looked like a wolf footprint, but they said it was like 7 times larger than what a normal wolf footprint would have actually looked like. And they said there's nothing in that section of the state, or even anywhere that they knew of, that had feet that large. Wow. Okay. Well, thank you, Jessica, for sharing. I really appreciate it. So Jessica, of course, said yes, professor. So that's kind of why I decided I wanted to take the class, because there's stories like that none of us. She looked around the room and kind of gestured with her hand. I don't think any of us fully believe in any of this, but I know that we've probably all either heard of or had some incidents happen in our life that cause us to be more curious about whether things like this are actually real. Veronica shook her head. So yeah, you're like exactly. It's part of why I became a professor in this subject, so we could all research and learn together. Because I'm no expert, but I've experienced a lot of stuff over the years myself, seen a lot of odd stories, and I think we could all benefit from what we're gonna do in this class. All the students murmured like, yeah, of course, yeah, it's fucking okay. So anyway, everybody, so like I know usually these classes are gonna be about 2 hours long. They're gonna go from 10 a.m. till noon. It's about 11:25 right now. I think I'm gonna actually let you guys go early, but what I want y'all to do is I want everybody in this class. I want you to write a three-page essay. And one of the students kind of laughed a little bit. 3-page, like, man, that's shorter than any essay I've ever written for any other classes. Professor, are you sure you only want us to write 3 pages? Veronica laughed. Well, I mean, I could make more. I could have it be more if you want. And all the students were like, no, of course not. No, professor, no. 3 is good. 3 is good. Veronica said, yeah, that's kind of, I figured as much. So yeah, 3 pages. Very simple assignment. I just want you guys to write 3 pages about something that either happened to you that made you kind of wonder about the unknown, wonder about the supernatural, wonder about obviously the paranormal type stuff, like the stuff like that we can't explain. Things have happened, like in cases like Jessica's, the case of the footprint that she mentioned, that there's nothing out there documented that has a foot that big. So there's stuff like that. I want you guys to write a essay, just kind of detailing kind of your inspiration for this class, but I want you to do it by telling me about something that either you heard of or something that happened to you. Does that make sense, y'all? Of course, yeah. Thank you, yeah, Professor. Yeah, that sounds great. Everybody all chimed in at once. All right, so on that note, today's class is over. I will see you guys on Thursday, because it's a twice. Oh wait, ma'am, is this not I thought this is like everyday class. No, sir. This class is on Mondays and Thursdays. So I will see you guys again on Thursday, and make sure to have those ready for me, and I will see you guys then. All the students spoke up in agreement as they got up and grabbed their bags and their stuff and headed for the door. Later on that day, she was going through some more research information that she had written down in her notebook, and was doing a couple searches online, she'd figured she wanted to kind of do kind of similar to what she'd given the students as far as an assignment goes. She wanted to put together her own little example as to why she was doing what she was doing. So she was researching, and she was taking some notes and started writing out her own little report, her own little essay that she was going to make copies of and give all the students a copy of her stuff, so that she could kind of let them know a little bit more about her and let them kind of understand why she does what she does. So on Thursday, when the students got to class again, as they walked in, hey everybody, welcome back. Did you guys have a good couple days the last couple days? Yes, Professor, we sure did. They said as they were all sitting down. I was like, you guys look pretty good. Like you got 10 a.m. I know it could be early for some. But you guys look like pretty well rested and refreshed or whatever. One of the students in the back raised their hand. Yes, sir. Yeah, professor. Honestly, like 10 a.m. I'm a night owl, so 10 a.m. is pretty early for me. But I've only based on just the one class that we've had so far. I am like really inspired, and I'm very much looking forward to the rest of the year in your class. So I'm here and I'm awake. Thankfully, as he held up a can of Red Bull and said, "With help, of course." Of course, the Veronica was like, of course, I totally get it. She held up her coffee cup. She, they went around the room. The students started reading their essays. And so, hey, Jessica, Veronica said. Yes, ma'am. Jessica? Oh, sorry. I mean, yes, Professor. Very good. Thank you. But, so Jessica, what did you have to write for us today? I know you already told us about your friend that was torn apart. Did you have any other stories of inspiration that made you want to take this class? Well, Professor, Jessica said. Even though I haven't had anything else really, really big happen. It's really weird, really out of the norm. But I did have. I saw a story a couple years back after the incident with my friend disappearing and finding them or whatever. I did have an incident a couple years back that I saw on the news. They said that a body turned up. Was basically laying on the beach by by the lake or whatever, and they thought maybe this guy drowned, but there was no water in the guy's lungs, and he had, what the weirdest part is, he had 2 puncture marks on the side of his neck. They had no idea what that could have come from, but you probably already know kind of where mine and probably a lot of other people's minds went, right, Professor? Veronica laughed a little bit. I have a feeling you're probably going to say you guys figured it was like a possibility of like a vampire. All the students kind of laughed. Jessica laughed too. Yeah, kind of. She laughed, kind of like looking off, kind of uncomfortably, whatever. Veronica, looked over. It's fine. Like that's why we're here. That's why this class is. That's why it's called Legends and Lore, because we're gonna look into things that are, for the most part, unexplainable, and we're gonna try to see. We're basically gonna research it and see what information we can come up with. If there's any lore or legend topics that we, through researching and stuff, if we could debunk them, then that's what we're gonna try to do. We're gonna try to see if we find, basically, what I want from you guys is, I want any of these legends that we come across and stuff, I want us to find any and all information we can, and if there's any information, whether it's information proving that it exists or information proving that it's basically just made up, I want to do whatever. I want to be all in no matter what. Does that make sense? All the students nodded in agreement. So, Professor, Jessica said, yeah, Jessica, what's up? So, we're not just here just to try to seek out legends and stuff. You want us to also like research them to try to see if we can have proof for them and stuff. That's correct, Jessica. Does that make sense? Is there, yeah, it makes sense. Okay, thank you, Professor Jones. I really appreciate it. No worries. After months in that class, a lot of stories had been shared, and a lot of research had been done, and they'd not managed to disprove any of the legends that they'd come across. They only continued to, especially when it came to things like what they'd spoken about, like the vampires and werewolves, they'd only continued to come up with more stories, more events that had happened that were not easily explained and that had no closure. They never had any suspects. They never figured out who they You know, like who might have, if anybody, like if an actual person took them, or if it was some creature from the forest or whatever. But they continued to bring their research to class with them, and Veronica continued to do research on her own time as well. And basically, they would discuss it when they got to class. They would talk about other legends that maybe they'd come across that still that they had no proof that they were real, but they had no proof that they weren't. And so they, you know, they would constantly be throwing new ideas in the mix and be trying to figure out more information about it. One day, after it had been about 6 months, Veronica was at her desk. It was a day when she wasn't actually having class. She would come to school, come to the university on her days off to go through the papers that the students had submitted the previous class period, and would basically get, you know, compile her own thoughts and, you know, get her own stuff together so that way she could share her findings and stuff of the more recent topics they had covered on the next day of class. So she was sitting there writing in her notebook after doing a search on her computer, and all of a sudden, ring, 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 ring. Hello, this is Professor Jones. How can I help you? Hey, Professor Jones, my name is Aaron Daniels. I am a detective with the Philadelphia Police Department, and I just need, are you free? Can I have a minute of your time? Yes, Detective Daniels. What seems to be, is everything okay? What seems to be the problem? Like, oh yeah, Professor Jones, don't worry about it. There's nothing for you to worry about. But we have a young lady that came up there to your corner of the woods up in northeastern Pennsylvania, and I know you're only a couple hours away from us, but this person, his name was Sam, and he's about 18, and he came up there, I believe, with a couple friends, but the only information I have is only on Sam, but I don't know if he came up there by himself or not. I haven't gotten that information yet, but he never returned. Do you have, and I have word that he's a student also, but I don't know exactly, but you know, his parents, he had a falling out with them, so they don't know what's going on. They just know that they were told that he disappeared up that way, and his friends can't reach him. Do you have anybody? And we also heard he's kind of into the same stuff, kind of like what you teach at your school. Is he a student in your class by any chance? What you say his last name was? I didn't. His last name was Sam Hampton. Oh, okay, Sam Hampton. That's an interesting name. Professor Jones said. Let me look real quick. I don't think so. That name doesn't sound familiar. I do have a Sam in here, but it's not Hampton. So yeah, he's not my class, unfortunately. So, is there anything I can help you with? Well, Professor Jones, here's what I'm kind of curious about, is like the circumstances surrounding this case, which is not really even a case yet, because I don't have. It's not like, you know, he's just disappeared. We don't have a body. We don't know if as far as we know, we don't know if anything happened to him. But so right now we're trying to find him, but at the same time, I've heard of I've seen I've only researched for a day, but I'm coming across a lot of very odd stuff up in, your corner of the woods or whatever. Really? Professor Jones said. Yeah, the detective said. It's kind of weird. I mean, I kind of feel kind of weird, like bringing this, like talking to you about this, because it's not something that this is very odd. It's very. Let me guess. Veronica said. Are you you're basically? I have the feeling you're basically calling because I'm a professor and basically the weird stuff, and you think this might actually have to do with basically the weird, unexplained, or whatever, right? That's correct, Professor, the detective said. I could use your help. Like, I could come up there, um, like, I could come up there and spend a couple days up there, and if, you know, if I could pick your brain about some of this weird stuff, whatever, and see if maybe between the two of us we could figure out if something did happen and what happened, and, you know, yeah, that's fine, you know. Um, my classes are Mondays and Thursdays between 10 and noon, but other than that, I'm pretty much wide open. Just give me a call when you get to town. That sounds great, Professor. I will be there probably. I'll come up on Monday after you get off your first class for the week, and I'll call you that afternoon, or I'll stop by right by your class directly. All right, sounds good, Professor Jones said. Huh, that was really weird, Veronica thought to herself after hanging up the call. That's kind of weird. All right, you know. So Monday afternoon came, and she heard a knock on her door. She went over and answered the door. Oh, hey, can I help you? Hey, are you Professor Jones? Yes, sir. They ask who you are. I'm the detective you spoke with. Oh, detective, awesome. Yeah, okay. Yeah, come on in. Yeah, my class just got over about half an hour ago. I'm just in here taking notes and researching and doing what I do and stuff. Oh, of course, the detective said. So, so what you said the young man's name that disappeared was Sam, right? That's correct, Professor Jones. Please call me Veronica. Oh, okay. What about you? Oh, detective's fine. Just call me detective. That's that's pretty much what everyone calls me, and it's probably about as easy as calling you Veronica. Okay, detective, that's fine. So I didn't find anything about I didn't even see any records about a Sam disappearing out here. What information do you have on him? The detective sat down in a chair near her desk. Well, honestly, Veronica, not much. Like we literally just have he's 18. We heard he's a student, but we couldn't verify that. He came up here. Supposedly, we've heard he came up here with a couple friends, but we haven't been able to confirm that either. We tried to get records of his phone, but he really didn't show much. Yeah, there's some text messages to a couple random numbers, but there's nothing that kind of led us to believe that he came up here with anybody. So, how do you want to do this? Because well, Veronica said, honestly, it's going to be hard to really pinpoint anything because you don't really have a whole lot of information. But let's see if we can find, see if anything jumps out. Let's do a search and start at local reports and go with there. Did you see anything up here or whatever? And the detective was like, well, no, I haven't. Since he disappeared, I've kind of researched a little bit, but I didn't know what to look for. And, I know that this is kind of an odd case. And I know that your class, you're a legends and lore professor. And so you kind of specialize a little bit in odd cases. So that's why I thought you'd be the perfect one to talk to. So, all right. So they sat down at the desk, and Veronica got behind her computer. Okay, well, hold on. Let's bring up local. If there's any reports, anybody turning up, bodies turning up. Huh. Well, this is interesting. Veronica said as she scrolled down a webpage. What'd you find? The detective said. Well, they didn't find anybody a body, but they found some torn clothes and a wallet, just laying out in a set of bushes or whatever out in the woods. Really, the detective said as he got up, came over, looked at her computer, who'd they belong to? I see. She kept scrolling. Samuel Hampton or what? Is that what you said his name was? Yeah, that's correct. Samuel Hampton or whatever. Okay, so yeah, they're his some clothes. Well, they said the clothes may or may not belong to him, but the wallet had his ID in it, and so they definitely, those are definitely his stuff. But then, as far as the clothes, they can't confirm until they do some tests on them because they're a little bit torn up or whatever. And so the detective leaned over his shoulder a little bit. Okay, what else did they say about the clothes? That they run the test already, or they're getting ready to do it? When did they find them? Hold on a second, Veronica said as she kept scrolling. Well, it looks like they found it they found it pretty much like within the last 2 days or whatever. Like it was after you and I had talked on the phone or whatever, and they didn't. Now it looks like they're doing because they did find traces of blood on the clothes, and they ran them, and it looks like it did come back that it's Sam's blood, but they said that there's no, as far as what they could tell, they're not saying that it's a possible death. They think that he's definitely hurt, but they can't obviously rule out anything at this point. Do you want me to print this for you really quick? Yeah, that'd be great, Professor. Thanks. So she printed the information on the website for him, handed him the page. Thank you, Professor. That's really great. Was there anything else you found? Well, they said they was like there's like a set of tracks that led away from the scene, but on this news article it said that they couldn't identify what kind of animal was nearby. Like the detective looked away for a second, kind of put his hand to his temple, was thinking for a few seconds. What are you thinking, Detective? Veronica said, looking over at him. Well, honestly, Veronica, it kind of sounds to me like maybe he was out in the woods and got attacked by an animal, but then where is he? That's a good question, Veronica said. Why don't we, hold on, let's keep... So they took a photo of the print, the footprint that was nearby. Really? Hold on, bring it up. Let's see. The detective said. Wow, holy crap. What the heck? What the heck could make a print that big? The detective said as his eyes got really big. Veronica was like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I've heard other stories. Hell, some of my students have actually told me of other things that have happened in the past where they saw footprints, but the stories they told me were they found bodies and then they found big footprints near, but none of them having disappeared and then just finding stuff that belonged to that person. That's really interesting, the detective said. So, what do you hold on? So, well, here, pull up a seat, detective. Maybe let's see what we can find, and we could put our heads together, and maybe if we're lucky, maybe if the student or this individual, since we don't know if they're a student, maybe they're okay. Maybe we could find them, and I appreciate your help, the detective said. So Veronica scrolled through multiple other websites and other news articles and came across one that had more random articles that were found, including well, look at this, Veronica said. What? They found more stuff, more stuff that they determined happened to be Sam's belongings. Really? What'd they find? The detective said. Looks like they found a bag, like a small duffel bag. Looks like it had a couple books in there. Like maybe, I think you're right. Maybe he was a student somewhere, but I don't think he's here. Or at least I don't know. I've only been at the school for 6 months, and I really only know the students in my class for right now. But it says it found a bag, and there was actually this is what you're gonna find very interesting, detective. The detective looked over and slid the chair over next to her again. Like, now you got me curious, Veronica. What is it? In the bag, they found a wooden stake, but they also found a bullet and a gun. And you're not gonna believe this. The detective was like, "Let me guess. Is the bullet silver?" How'd you guess? Veronica said. Just a random thought. I'm kind of getting the sense that maybe Sam came up here and was tracking stuff try to seek out things that maybe he shouldn't have, and maybe something bad happened to him. But hopefully we can figure things out or whatever. Did they find anything else in the bag, Veronica? Veronica scrolled through a little bit. Well, yeah, it looks like they had a little bit of a. It almost looks like a drawn out map of the woods, and looks like he's like got like little X's in certain spots, and there's a weird symbol he's drawn in one corner of the woods, about a half mile away from where they found his bag, and about a mile and a half from where his clothes were found torn up. Okay, so does it have the picture of the map or whatever he drew? Yeah, right here. Veronica said as she brought it up. Okay, that's interesting. So he was looking at the map and using his finger to kind of trace where it is. So that's it's almost like a little circle. Like if you draw a circle and you put you lay a point right here. He said, pointing at one part of the screen, and then he said, and if you do a circle with that point in the middle, you literally have those areas that where they found the bag and the clothes. Those are like the outer edge of that circle. With this point in the middle, it's like, huh. So that's interesting. Isn't there? What is that right there in the middle, right there? He said, pointing at a little grayed out area on the map. So can you is there a way to bring a little map up, so we can see what that area of the woods looks like, so we can see, because it looks like there's a little shaded area right here. He said, pointing up. Veronica was like, yeah. Hold on a second. That looks like it might be. That might be. Yeah. Is that a cave? That looks like a cave. What do you think, detective? She said, like turning the computer towards him a little bit. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right, Professor. I think we need to go out there. So you had class today, so you're free tomorrow, right? Let's go check it out and see what we can find. Do you know do you know if there's anything because I've never dealt with anything of the supernatural like this. I've only done in hard facts and stuff, said the detective. So I don't know exactly. I kind of feel foolish for asking you this, but is there anything you'd recommend us bringing along with us, for protection? Well, I mean, yeah, I'm like you, detective. Yeah, I teach this stuff, but I also trying to. Part of my class is me trying to debunk a lot of the stuff, so I can't even say I 100% believe everything I'm teaching. But it's one of those things where there's a lot of things I've researched and I haven't really been able to prove false yet. Actually, I haven't really been able to prove any of this false because there's so many things that have happened over the years, lots of stories, a lot of news articles, and we just there's nothing really concrete that says that things like werewolves, vampires, heaven, hell, demons, whatever. There's nothing concrete in all the historical facts and stuff, all the records, all the history books that can, without a doubt, prove that any of this is real or not real. But that's why it makes it so interesting. That's kind of why I do what I do. But why don't we, I can meet you, why don't we meet here and, 12 o'clock tomorrow, and we'll head over. Looks like it's about a 45-minute drive to that part of the woods where at least the closest we could get to it, and then we have to kind of hike in there to see what we find. But yeah, if you can meet me at 12, let's go check it out. That sounds great, Professor, the detective said. So have a good rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. All right, sounds good, detective. So the next day, she was waiting outside as the detective pulled up. He was driving what looked to be a brand new Dodge Ram quad cab, jacked up with big tires, and she climbed in, and she's overcompensating a little bit, detective. She said, kind of giving him a grin. He's like, "Oh, shut up. I'm sorry. I mean, I didn't mean to be rude like that, Professor. I'm sorry. No, it's fine. It's fine, detective. Relax, relax. I'm just giving you a hard time. But, you know, also because I know I'm a bit nervous about going out there, too, so I'm kind of just trying to lighten the mood. Yeah, you know, I feel you, the detective said. I'm a little bit nervous going out there because, like, we're going out in the woods. I'm not really a big fan of going, like, being in the woods and stuff, especially somewhere where possibly things have happened. So, going out in the woods, when they parked their car in the nearest parking area, they were hiking their way in the woods, and Veronica looked over at the detective. So, like, what did you say how long ago? It's been like a week since this young man disappeared, right? Not quite, but close, yeah, the detective said. So, I wonder what we're gonna find, she said as they kept walking. They heard a twig snap in the distance. Shit, did you hear that? The detective said. Yeah, I did. But what direction did that come from? I couldn't tell, Veronica said. I think it came from over there, the detective said, pointing off to their left side. Oh, they heard another snap. Shit, there it was again. Did that come from the same area? It sounded like it came from a different area. Yeah, I think it came from... That one sounded like it came from over there, he said, pointing off in a different direction. All of a sudden, they heard a low growl. What the hell? The detective said, as this time he's starting to panic. Did you hear that? Yeah, what did that even sound like, Veronica said. I don't know, it sounded like a freaking growl. Is there supposed to be any, like, wolves in this area? I don't think so, Veronica said. Hold on. So they ran back out of the woods to their car. She pulled out her laptop and connected it to her Wi-Fi on her phone and did some searching. Look, well, it says here on this website that about the woods that there's really only there's small wolves. So there are wolves in the forest, but none of them are big, and there's not even any bears. It's like wolves, like foxes and stuff, and then even smaller creatures. There's nothing like big that should be able to make it growl like that. Veronica's, wow, that's really weird. Okay, hold on. The detective reached back and pulled out he had a off-duty sidearm that was stored in the back of, in the trunk of his car. Veronica looked at him. You didn't, I figured you're a detective, so I thought you were already armed. Yeah, most of the time I am, but, today I thought we're just going to the woods, so I'm not, I didn't think anything of it, but now that with that growl and whatever's in there, okay, so they headed back in, and as they're walking in, all of a sudden, they heard another twig snap off to the side of them, and they both jumped. And Veronica took a few steps to the side, and next thing you know, they heard a very loud growl and a roar, and all of a sudden, something shot out from the bushes, and got a hold of the detective. And as Veronica whipped around and tried to run after him and try to grab him, all she could see was him on his stomach being dragged by something very big, had a hold of his leg, dragging him off in the bushes. He disappeared in the bushes, and Veronica ran in there to look. There's a lot of bushes where he got pulled into, and it was hard to see because there's so much shrubs and all that stuff. That's all Veronica could hear was the detectives, help, help. She heard gunfire going off. She's like, detective, where are you at? Detective, come back. Silence. Oh my god, what the hell happened? Veronica was freaking out. Detective, are you okay? Sure enough, the twig snap in the distance. Shit. Turned and ran back to where their car was. She got into the detective's car and realized that he had the keys on him, so of course she was stranded. But thankfully she She was thankful that she had her phone with her. So she called 911. 911, how can I help you? Yeah, hi. This is Professor Victoria Jones. I work at the university, and I'm out here at this side of the forest. I'm in it's near the parking area. We're parked at. It's mile marker blah blah blah, mile marker 227, and we're in his truck. It's like a red Dodge Ram quad cab. It's just, and we went. We're in there working. I was helping him with the case, and something attacked him and dragged him off. I don't know where he is. Ma'am, calm down. The 911 worker said. Tell me again, where are you at? You're on the eastern side of the forest over near mile marker 227. Is that what I said? Veronica said, yeah, 227. I'm sorry, I can't. My head's spinning right now. I don't know. Man, oh my god, what if he's dead? It's okay, ma'am, calm down. Now I've dispatched an ambulance. I've dispatched some patrol officers your direction. Please just calm down. They'll be there in a little bit. Okay, thank you. Veronica said as they hung up the call. Officers pulled in and ambulance pulled in. They started searching the woods and combing through all the brushes, all the wooded areas, trying to see. They came out from all the bushes. They had a revolver on wrapped up in a little bit of a rag, and they came over and showed it to Veronica. Like, ma'am, does this look familiar? Oh my God, that's the detectives. I saw him. He pulled it out of his car. We heard, man, I think something happened to him. Ma'am, calm down. We're trying to find him. All right, just tell us what you can remember. Well, we came in here. That's because there's a student that disappeared. He's been looking for it. He wanted my help because I teach a class at the university. He thought maybe I'd be able to help him. Really, man? What do you teach? The officer said, I teach legends and lore at the university. I'm a professor there, and we're all about the weird stuff, trying to debunk stuff. And he thought maybe I could help, but oh my God, what if he's not okay? Ma'am, calm down. So what exactly happened? Did you guys see anything out here? Well, not at first. We came out here. We heard movement, there's something nearby, large twigs were snapping or whatever, and so we ran back to the truck, and he got his sidearm, and then we went back in, and then something really big rushed out of one of the clearings, and got a hold of him and dragged him back there, and I must have heard about 6 gunshots before I didn't hear any more noise. Oh my God! Hey, can you guys get Miss Jones some water here and just make sure she's okay. Just get her a blanket, whatever she needs. The officer said as he directed off to some of his fellow officers. Yes, sir. Well, we will. So the officer, they kept searching or whatever. They came back and the officer sat down next to her. Well, Miss Jones, we didn't find anything, honestly. All we found what looked like a drag trail. And there was it looked like there was a little bit of blood on the trail. There's a little bit of blood on the trail, but we didn't find a body. We didn't find the detective, and so we don't know exactly what happened. But we did see something very interesting. What'd you find? Veronica said. We found a couple of really big footprints. They look like, if I didn't know any better, I would say they look like Bigfoot footprints. But that can't be right. Bigfoot that's not real. So there's got to be another explanation for it. Veronica looked away, sobbing. I don't know. Okay. But what do we do, officer? What do we do? Well, where did you say this detective is from? He's from the Philadelphia. It was a couple hours away from here. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna get in touch with them and tell them what's gone down and stuff, see what they want to do, because it's just really weird. All right, sounds good. Veronica said. So a couple days later, Veronica's phone go off again. Ring, 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 ring. Hello, Veronica said. Still not fully feeling like talking after what happened. Hey, is this Miss Veronica Jones? Yes, sir. Who's this? Hey, I'm a detective in Philadelphia. My partner actually came up there. Oh, you're that detective's partner? I don't even remember his actual last name. I just was calling him Detective. Veronica said. Yeah, that was Detective Smith. I'm Detective Francis. My name is Jonathan Francis, but you can call me Detective or Francis or John. I don't care. All right, Detective Francis. What can I do for you? Veronica said. Well, I already was aware of kind of what he was kind of looking into up there, but I didn't think I would have accompanied him, but I didn't. I guess I feel bad now because he's disappeared and we don't know if he's okay. But I'm gonna be coming up there. I'll be up there the next day or two. I like for you to take me back out to where he disappeared. And, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but can you tell me what things that I might need to bring as far as protection goes, if that makes sense? What do you mean, Detective Francis? Veronica said. Well, ma'am, like, man, I feel foolish for actually bringing this up. Detective, will you just spit it out? Okay, all right, you're right, ma'am. So, what should we bring? Because you know how they like, as far as like vampires are like steaks, werewolves are like silver bullets. Like, is it like? Do you think? Sound from the information I have on the attack or the whatever happened is that there were some big footprints that were found near the scene or whatever. Is that correct? Yes, Detective Francis, that's correct. Okay, so I mean, I actually, believe it or not, because I'm a huge believer in all this kind of weird stuff. So I actually have silver bullets, and I even have stakes, even though I acquired them, not thinking I would ever use them, because I didn't, odd man, I never thought any of it was real, but it kind of, with what happened to my partner, I'm kind of thinking that maybe it was, but I need your help. I want to come up there and see if we can find him. Can you, can I get your help? Of course, Detective. Let's, I'm just kind of out of it because like I was with him when he disappeared, and he probably he fired off at least 6 rounds towards whatever it was. So, but yeah, I will see you up. So what on Wednesday afternoon? You're gonna be up here? Yes, ma'am. I'll see you Wednesday afternoon. All right, sounds good. Do you want me to meet you at the do you want to meet here at the university, or do you want me to meet you at the forest? No, I'll pick you up. I'll pick you up at the university, and we can head out there together. But yeah, I'll bring my sidearm, and I'll bring the silver bullets, just so we can, hopefully we can go out there and see what we can find, and hopefully we can figure things out. I'd like to see if we can find, because I know he's already been missing for a day. So hopefully we could find him, and maybe the student that he was up there searching for, but it's been like a week or so since Sam disappeared. So Veronica sighed. Yeah, I'll admit I really don't want to go back out there, but I know that your partner is actually really nice to me or whatever. So I'd hate to think that something really, really bad happened to him. I like to think he's okay. So yep. So I will see you on Wednesday afternoon. Just probably meet me outside at like 1 o'clock. All right, sounds good. They said before hanging up the call. Wednesday afternoon, 1 o'clock sharp. Veronica was standing outside waiting for the other detective to pull up, and he pulled up, also driving a Dodge Ram. only this one was a different color. And he parked near her and got out. I was like, "You must be Veronica?" He's like, "Yeah, you must be Detective Francis." That's correct. All right, man, let's go. I got the silver bullets and stuff already loaded in my gun just in case. Even though I kind of feel weird. I feel weird having silver bullets with me because that's almost like admitting that this crap is real. It's not crap, Veronica said, but I understand what you're saying though. It's like hard to try to like give validation to these legends and this lore and stuff, you know. But I actually, to be honest, I kind of feel better. I feel safer that you actually have that with you because we might. I know we ran into something the other day, so. All right, you ready to go? Yeah, let's go. Veronica said. So they pulled in the same parking lot where Veronica, the other detective, had parked. He got his sidearm out and made sure it was loaded with the silver bullets, holstered it, and then they started walking into the forest. Veronica looked at him real quick, like, "Hey, so do you have anything like taser or anything that like I could hold on to that just in case I can defend myself?" He goes, "Oh yeah, of course." Handed her a little taser on the side. It's like if something attacks you, you just push this button, and it shoots out these little barbs, and basically just gives a very strong electric shock to your attacker. Now, obviously, this is meant for humans, so I'm not sure if we're dealing with actual werewolves out here. If that'll really have an effect. But again, I feel silly for even saying that and stuff. Veronica's like, "Yeah, don't worry about it." It's like, I thank you for the taser. I just, maybe it won't do anything, but hey, I better rather have it and have it be ineffective than not have anything at all and need something. He goes, "Yep, that's true." As they're walking into the forest, they were looking around the scene where the other detective had disappeared, and Veronica was on one side of that area, looking like stepping through a couple clearings, couple bushes, and looking around and seeing the drag marks and seeing the broken small limbs of different bushes and stuff, as if something had been dragged through there, and not really seeing too much anything. And then of course, like, "Hey, did you find anything?" She said. I'd call it back to the detective. No, not yet. I'm seeing a drag mark over here too. Really? Yeah, why? The detective said. Well, because there's drag marks over here too, going in a different direction. Huh. Well, that's interesting. As they searched, all of a sudden they heard another low growl. "What the hell was that?" the detective said. "That's what we heard the other day. Where did it come from?" "I think it came from over there," they said, pointing off to the east a little bit. As they walked that way, all of a sudden, a big creature came charging out from the bush. "Holy shit!" the detective said. A couple gunshots. The creature got a hold of the detective and started dragging him off into the woods. Another few gunshots. "Detective!" Veronica said. She caught up to him as he was laying there, pulling himself up off the ground. His leg cut open as you could tell that he'd been bitten. "Oh my God, are you okay?" "Yeah, holy crap, what the hell was that?" the detective said. "I don't know, man, that looked like you know what I'm going to say, detective? It looked like a large ass wolf, didn't it?" the detective said. Yeah, it did. Oh my God, like, it looked like it. What did it do, just let you go? Well, I got off a couple shots, and I think I hit it a few times. Look at that, there's a blood trail right there. Oh, yeah, so they follow the trail of blood, and there's little driplets here, driplets there, and just it went on for probably a good half a mile before it led exactly to what Veronica and the initial detective had looked at on the map. "Holy crap, that's the cave." "What?" Detective. the detective said, yeah, that's the cave that Detective Smith and I, we looked at on the map. Like that's like right in the center, around where they found articles of clothing and stuff from the other people that have disappeared out here, or that Sam had disappeared out here. I guess. Like, are you saying you think there's more people that disappeared out here aside from Sam and the detective? No, I'm not all here, detective. I'm just, I'm all like I'm spaced out because like, man, I really hope we find him. And it just happened the other day, so I'm just like, I'm out of it. I'm sorry. So don't worry about it, Professor Jones. Don't worry. So let's see. Looks like the blood trail goes into the cave. Are you sure you want to go in there? I could go in there alone since I have the gun or whatever. Like, I'll just go behind you because I really don't want to stay out here alone. Victoria or Veronica said. All right, sounds good. The detective said. All right, follow me. Hold on. As they entered the cave, the blood trail got to where it started to pool a little bit, and all of a sudden they came upon a body. And it turned out to be a body of a young man that looked familiar to Veronica. She said, "Hold on, it can't be." Like, well, what do you mean? The detective said. This guy looks like. You're sure that when you fired those couple rounds, you sure it was an animal that you're shooting at, right? Yeah, absolutely. The detective said. Like, it was big too. I thought it was a bear, but it couldn't. But then it kind of looked like it could have been a cross between a wolf and a bear, because it had features of both a little bit, kind of like where it's massive like a bear, but it had the features of a wolf. When it initially ran up to me, I remember it was on its hind legs running at me. But this guy right here, did you get an identification of, like, do you know who this guy is? Well, Veronica pulled up her phone and brought up the picture. She goes, "That's Sam. That's the student that he was up here, that the Detective Smith was up here researching. Like, that's Sam. Like, look, there's even where'd you shoot the creature that attacked you?" She said, looking at the detective. Kyle, I'm pretty sure I got him couple rounds, like in the front, like in the where you think a chest would be. But again, it's like it was so massive. So they, she brought it up. She goes, "Yeah, that's Sam." And it looks like there's a couple bullet wounds in the front, but hold on, let's check him really quick. She said, going over and checking for a pulse. Yeah, he's dead for sure. Is anybody out there to help? Did you hear that? Veronica said. Yeah, that sounded like it came from deep, like further back in the cave. All right, I was like, "Can you make sure you got a couple more bullets in that gun, before we go further back here? Because I'm not sure what to expect now. Because if Sam here was the one that attacked you, that would mean." Veronica trailed off. The detective chimed in. That would mean that he was a fucking werewolf, right? Just kind of like chuckled a minute, but then kind of like cringed, like, and he's like, "Sorry about the language, sorry. I just don't know if I believe all this stuff, but obviously, like, we can't argue with the facts. And this is Sam here, and he's, he said that he's clothes were found shredded and stuff, and they found his bag and stuff. But like, didn't he say his bag had like a stake and like silver bullets in it?" So yeah, that's true. It's kind of weird because, like, I would think that why would somebody who's possibly a werewolf have stakes and silver bullets if they were in fact one of those creatures? That's kind of weird. Yeah, I have no idea. That is kind of weird. Right. Well, anyway, let's go see. Let's go further down. Let's see if we can find. Because help! Yeah, that's. Did you hear that again? Let's go down there and and check it out. Let's see who's back here and stuff. They went deeper into the cave with their flashlight, and they came across Detective Smith tied up and all bloodied and not in the greatest shape, but alive. Holy crap, Detective, you're alive! Veronica said as she ran over to him and started cutting off the rope. What happened? What happened? I thought you were dead. Detective Smith was like, holy crap. Man. Just get me out of here, guys. Get me out of here. Man, I don't know what that thing was that attacked me, but all I saw, like 1 minute, I saw something big rush at me, and then next thing you know, I'm waking up here all bloody, laying in a pool of my own blood, and I swear I saw like a man, well, looked like a naked man walking right here in the cave, but I couldn't see him because he never came close. Veronica was like, yeah, that's Detective, we found Sam. What? Yeah, he's the one that attacked you. We think he you want to tell him, Detective? And she looked at the other detective. Yeah, Detective partner, we think he's the werewolf. Like, we think he's what attacked you. Like, are you shitting me? Detective Smith said. No, man. That's what we think. That's, because like something attacked me out there, but thing that I got attacked out there by something big, and because I do what the professor here, I know what she teaches, and I know what you were kind of out here kind of investigating, and so I actually brought silver bullets with me. Are you shitting me? Detective Smith said, no, I brought silver bullets out here. I felt silly bringing them, but when something grabbed me out there in the woods and dragged me into the bushes, I actually had gotten my gun out of my holster, and I managed to get a few rounds off, and it let me go and disappeared. And then the professor and we followed the blood trail, and it led us to this cave, and we found Sam. At the mouth of the cave, he was basically naked and basically bloody, and he was deceased at that point. But that's why we're thinking, based on what we found, and I won't know for sure until we do ballistics and stuff to make sure to test the bullets that are inside Sam. But I'm pretty sure they're gonna match my gun, and they're probably gonna be the silver bullets I fired. Holy shit, man! That's insane. But man, I've seen stranger things, but yeah, it's. But Veronica said as she grabbed Detective Smith's arm and helped him up. I'm just so glad that you're alive and that you're safe. Like, I didn't know if we were gonna find you. Yeah, I didn't know either when I first woke up in the cave and saw that I was tied up. I didn't know what to. I didn't know what my chances of survival were, because I had no phone with me anymore, because my phone, I think I lost it out in the woods. So what do you think? What do you think, Detective Smith? What should we do? Because as we found your guy that you were looking for, I would never have imagined that Sam was actually the werewolf out here, that he was the one that attacked you. But it's I guess it kind of makes sense a little bit. Ooh, what do you mean? Detective Smith said. Well, you remember you said that his bag and stuff, he had silver bullets and wooden stakes. Yeah, now you mention it, yeah, that is kind of weird. Like, if he was a werewolf himself, why would he have that stuff? That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure exactly, what to think, because if he's a werewolf himself, why would he be out here, why would he be out here himself hunting them? And what's with what's with the stakes? Like, was he out here hunting vampires at the same time he was hunting werewolf? Like, what's going on? Well, if I could offer maybe a suggestion, the other detective said. Yeah, what's up? Detective Smith said. Well, isn't there a legend that says that if you're bitten and turned into a werewolf, that if you haven't killed anybody, that you can, kill the creature that turned you into one, and if you haven't taken any life yet, that any life yet, that you can basically kill the one that created you and basically kind of like reverse the process. Veronica was like, you mean like kill your creator and basically resort back to being or change back to being like human? Yeah, Detective Smith said. Maybe that was it. Like maybe he got he found out who, like, that his creator was out here or something, and he was trying to get himself switched back to being human. Veronica was like, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, maybe that could be the case, So, what do you think? Like, well, I mean, let's just get out of here, because I don't like we're standing here in this cave, and it's creeping me out. Yeah, me too. Veronica said, let's go. What about you, detective? Yeah, let's go. So, but I say we're heading back to the truck. Detective Smith, hey, can I borrow your radio? And his partner handed it over. Yeah, sure. Hey, I have a code 187 on out near the woods, a mile marker 225. We have a deceased male subject, gunshot wounds to the abdomen, no clothes, not conscious, not breathing, and reports of a large animal attack out here as well. We need investigative teams out here. So both detectives and Veronica headed back to the university to drop Veronica off, and Detective Smith was taken to the impound lot where his truck had been parked since he had disappeared 2 days prior. Veronica, of course, her head was swirling, and she now even had even more questions about not just supernatural in general, but she had a lot of questions about werewolves especially, a little bit about vampires, but she was definitely wanting to do a lot more research to learn all she could about werewolves, because she just, now that she had experienced something herself, she didn't know what to think. So her next class, she literally came into class and immediately she handed out the police report for what had happened. She was like, did you guys hear about this the other day? Students were like, whoa, did this happen here? Yeah, well, I mean, about, half an hour from where we are now. It's like, this is so I'm going to tell you the circumstances. I want you guys to tell me what you think. So she started to describe Sam's injuries. She said he was naked. He, after the detective had been dragged off by a large animal and had gotten a few shots off into it, then they didn't find the animal, but they found Sam with a few shots to the part of the body that the detective had fired his gun into. Wow, that sounds like a fucking werewolf, one of the students said. Yeah, it's kind of what we were thinking too, but we couldn't report it like that. We couldn't, well, how'd you report it? Like that has to be an interesting thing right there. One of the students said, well, we basically just said that there was an animal attack and there was a dead body with a couple of bullet wounds in him, and they happen to be silver bullets from the other detective. So they're basically writing up that maybe that guy, the guy they found, maybe he was wearing some kind of animal costume or whatever, and it attacked him. and the detective in self-defense had fired off a few rounds, but of course they never found any costume or whatever. But they're still not ruling that out. It's still an open investigation. But I know, being in this class, I know we all kind of think, students kind of nodded their head like, yeah. So Veronica continued to do her twice a week classes and continued to research every time she had any free time, whether it was a day off or whether it was after class, trying to look at any other incidents that had ever happened in that forest. And she was not very surprised to see there were a lot of other events that had happened. And one of the things she found interesting was the fact that things that even happened in that forest before Sam, the suspected werewolf that they found, there were incidents that had happened in that forest long before Sam was even born. So for now, all she could do was continue doing her research. For now, all she could do is try to keep debunking the things that she thought she knew, but she wasn't a full believer in. But for now, all she could do is keep moving forward and doing what she does best: researching legends and lore, trying to get more information about any events that had happened, and trying to keep moving forward. The end. Welcome back, guys. So I'll admit, doing this freestyle story today, I was kind of, I'll admit, because I was kind of multitasking, so that's kind of why if you hear me pause a bit here, pause a bit there, it was me kind of, maybe I wasn't distracted, but, in the middle of something, of course, coming in here, and I had to pause to get a trailer dropped, and then recorded again, and got my truck backed into a space here or whatever, because I'm up here in Knoxville dropping a loaded trailer, and now I get to see what they got for me going back or whatever. But it took me a while to try to come up with something. For some reason, I was leaning towards werewolves, kind of, but problem with freestyle is the fact that I might have an idea of where I want to go with the story, but then I have to coming up with it on the fly, trying to remember character names and stuff like that. When you don't have it written in front of you, it's kind of hard. But this is me practicing my skills as a storyteller. I mean, yeah, I'm a writer, but I also am trying to see how I can do by coming up with these stories for you off the top of my head, and instead of having it written down, and that way I can just tell it on the fly and go about it and stuff like that. So but anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any feedback on it, like you hated it, you thought it was pretty good, you thought it was okay, feel free to drop me an email. blodgeshowpodcast@gmail.com, or if you go to blodgeshow.com/contact, or blodgeshow.com and click the contact button, it'll pop up and give you an option to email. You can also drop me a contact if you have any ideas for a story. If you have any ideas for topics for Real Talk Tuesdays, would definitely appreciate it. We'll definitely, or else just drop me a contact if, let's say you're struggling and you need someone to talk to you back and forth. You can send me an email and say, hey, I just, or even hey, can you pray for me because I have this going on? I'm like, all right, cool. We're all here to support each other. We're all here to have each other's backs or whatever. So, but on that note, I know that this has been one long ass episode. I did not mean for it to go that long, but I've noticed that if I write it all out and I have a written story already before I record, it's so much easier for me to have it be like a normal length, like 30 minutes, hour, whatever, hour, 10 minutes. But when I did the last week's freestyle story time Friday episode. It was still like an hour and a half long. Of course, that was with the closing and intro and stuff. But this time I'm already at an hour and 45, so I apologize it was so long, but I hope you guys enjoyed the story. And hope I was able to close it out well enough for you guys. But you know, I kind of left it open a little bit where they're technically, because there's, like I said towards the end of that story, where there's other incidents that had happened before that. The werewolf they found, and the one detective killed with the silver bullets. There were incidents that happened before Sam was born. So that kind of, I don't know about you guys, that would tell me that, you know, that there's been like more than one werewolf out there. Maybe there's like a pack of them, but they stay hidden well enough because they haven't had that many incidents. But a few things have happened. So, but I appreciate you guys tuning in with me today. Appreciate you guys being here. If anybody would like to support the podcast, at the bare minimum, I would recommend liking and following, sharing with your friends, telling people about it. If you're willing to do any kind of financial assistance, financial contributions to the show, go to blodgetshow.com/support. And it'll come up, the next page will load up with the Patreon account, where it'll basically give the option to do a one-time donation or a monthly donation for as little as $1 per month. Every little bit helps, and every little bit is appreciated. Thank you so much in advance. Aside from that, definitely check out the promotions page, blodgetshow.com/promotions, or do the drop-down menu on the page. Click the promotions link, and you'll have, there's like four different links on that page with things that you can actually for like making money on the side and stuff. You know, little other things like the Sophie checking and savings, get a bonus there for signing up. Sophie investments, get a bonus there for signing up. A copy and paste ad business, where you literally copy and paste pre-written ads. It's like $129 to join that, and when you find places online that you can actually post those ads and stuff like that, and when I find things that actually work really well, obviously I'll share it with you guys too, because I'm new to it too. But it's $129 to join, and anybody that reads your ads and actually signs up with it, you make a $100 commission. But the other thing is, there's the last link on there is with a company called Accelerate. Really good products, and you can actually, for any affiliates, they can actually make up to $3,000 per month with basically no referrals, just through getting paid through as your matrix fills up. So that's pretty cool. But as I get other opportunities and stuff that I think that people can benefit from, obviously I'll put other links on there as well, so that way, you know, share what I know with others, share other opportunities that I've come across with others too. So on that note, you know what I always say, guys, keep pushing forward, keep believing, believe you can, believe you will, and you're already halfway there. And then you just got to go out there and do it. But on that note, since I don't want to talk your ear off, since we've already gone way too long on this episode, I'll leave you with that. But I want to wish you guys well, and I will talk to you guys again on Real Talk Tuesday on episode 80. Have a good one.